welcome to the second season of War Machines. I am very excited to get this season underway as there is a lot to look forward to here. Before we get started here, I will remind you, if you didn't see that in the intro, that there will be no fights in this episode, as this is just an information episode where I explain details of this tournament, some of the rules, and other stuff like that. Let's get started with this, where I will explain some of the changes made to this tournament compared to last season. I'm choosing to leave a lot of the changes I made in the episodes a surprise, but one of the big changes here is that there are a lot more competitors this season. 250 to be exact, which is almost triple the number of competitors from last season. This tournament will be run quite a bit differently than how it was last season, but that will be explained on the next slide for how that will be done. And the third change for this season is that there will be 3 classes this season. What you are probably thinking by that is weight classes, as lots of combat robotics tournaments feature those, but it will be a little different for this tournament. Last season, we had quite a few competitors from Robot Wars and Classic BattleBots competing against the big dogs from BattleBots and BuggleBots, and around 80% of them were eliminated in the first round of their heat. Of course, Mo did have a lot of success, as they did make the top 8 last season as one of those competitors, but still, in order to make it a little more fair, they won't take on those kinds of opponents this season. This season of War Machines will feature 3 mods, and rather than moving all competitors into one mod in one single tournament like what we saw last season, every competitor will only battle foes from its own mod. Basically, rather than weight classes, there will be 3 individual tournaments for 3 mods. Let's now talk about how this tournament will be run. This tournament will be run very similar to how BattleBots was in 2015 and 2016, where every competitor will be given an opening round matchup. These matchups are completely random, as I literally used a random team generator website that I found on the internet to determine these. The winner of each of those matchups will get an automatic spot in the brackets, and a certain number of the losing competitors will be awarded a wildcard back into the tournament. The wild cards will be determined based off of, did the opponent just have a bad matchup, did they put up a heck of a fight in there, or does the design have major potential to take a War Machines title. Once the bracket gets underway, it's all single elimination from there, and there will be no second chances given out. This will continue until there is 1 competitor remaining for each class who will be crowned as War Machines champions. The arena, once again, will be the Robot Series 8 arena, just like last season. And let's now introduce the classes. Our first class is the DSL class. Before you judge me for this, I couldn't come up with a good name for each class, so I pretty much just went off of part of the title for the mod for each class. This class is based off of the DSL IRL mod, which was created and can be found in GameTech mods, or the link to this and the other mods will be in the description of this video and should be there for each episode as well. Between the 3 classes, this is the smaller group, as 50 competitors from that mod were selected to compete in this tournament compared to 100 in each of the next 2 classes. Around 15 to 20 of them are returners from last season. The majority of the competitors that we'll be seeing in this class are from either BattleBots, Comedy Central, or I call the Classic series of BattleBots, and Robot Wars Series 3 through 6. Along with those, a few teams from RWL are available in this mod and will be competing in this as well. Basically, when comparing this to the last slide on how the tournament will be run, an opening round matchup will be determined for each competitor, and the 25 winning competitors will get a spot in the 32 competitor bracket. 7 wildcards will be determined whom will join the winning teams on this bracket, and then these 32 teams will fight it out for a War Machines title. The second one is the Robot Wars class. This one is based off of the Robot Wars RA2 mod created by Matthew Hunt and the rest of his team that helped create this mod, so big thanks to all of them for all their hard work. Compared to the last mod, 100 competitors have been selected for this one, and around 75 to 80% of them are competitors from Robot Wars, specifically 3 through 9. A bunch of RoboGames competitors will be appearing in there and will give the Robot Wars competitors a lot of competition. Before I get to the next part of this slide, due to the available bots in this mod, we won't be seeing a lot of the major Series 8 through 9 competitors like Carbide, Aftershock, Apollo, Concussion, Sabretooth, Terahertz, and others. There are quite a few other major and fan favorite competitors from there that we will get to see in this tournament, like Behemoth, Eruption, Gabriel, Nuts, and Thor. So we'll still have a great time with this mod, and we should get a lot of entertainment out of it this season. A big surprise that's only for this mod is that rather than watching them cause havoc in their corner patrol zone, some of the house robots decided that they wanted to create chaos, but as a competitor for this season. We will see Matilda and Shunt appearing as competitors for this season of War Machines. While you may think that this is completely unfair, because the house robots are typically around 3 times the weight as the rest of the competition, the designs for them are their Series 6 or 7 designs, where they were quite a bit lighter back then. So their weight is approximately the same as a lot of the competition, so it's not completely impossible to beat these contenders. For this class, all competitors will get an opening round matchup just like this in the last class and in all classes, but all the winners will be placed in a 64 bot bracket instead, since there's double the number of competitors here, and they will be joined by 14 determined wildcards to fill in the remaining holes. Last but not least, we have the one probably a lot of you are looking forward to, the BattleBots and the BuggleBots class. This one is based off of the BattleBots and Buggle mod created by Good Roboto, so big thanks to all the hard work put into that mod as well, as it should provide us with a lot of entertainment this season. This one features 100 competitors just like the last class, and around 75% of them are returners from last season. This mod features competitors from BattleBots, BuggleBots, and Apollo from Robot Wars. Included in this class is Hydra, whom if you don't know, Hydra was the War Machine Season 1 champion. Just like in the Robot Wars class, 50 winners will be determined from the opening round, and then will be joined by 14 wildcards, and finally ranked and placed onto a 64 competitor bracket. Even though this might not be necessary, there are a few rules in here that might be useful to know. A way a competitor can win a fight is by knockout, which one of 4 ways you can get that is through immobilizing the opponent. 2 things to keep in mind is that if a bot has drive on one side and if they can leave their circumference, this is counted as movement and the fight will continue. There will be no countdown. The other, which a lot of you might argue with, is that uncontrollable movement, like what we saw last season out of bots like Son of Waiachi, Typhoon 2, Gigabyte, and Icewave, for example, where they got flipped over and were trying to self-right, but were just spinning around upside down, completely out of control, until they eventually self-righted. Because it's a little complicated to determine exactly when they should have been counted out without robbing them of a potential victory, this will be counted as movement for this season. Other methods of getting a knockout includes destroying the opponent's control board, tossing them out of the arena, or putting them down the pit of oblivion, which will result in an instant KO. We saw a lot of all of those last season, and I expect we'll be seeing a lot of those again this season. A useful thing to know involving cluster bots, as there are 4 of them for this season, is that if 60% of the cluster bot has been knocked out, a KO will be declared. This probably won't matter much, as 3 of the 4 cluster bot competitors features 2 bots of approximately equal weight, so with those, the opponent will need to take out both competitors in order to get a knockout. However, there is one competitor in the Robot Wars class that features both a main bot and a mini bot, so the opponent only needs to take out the main bot in order to win the fight if they get paired up with that bot. If the fight goes the full 3 minutes, the fight will go to the judges. The fights are judged by 3 of myself, BattleBot Nate, Daily Dose of BattleBots, and Porinog. Be sure to check out their YouTube channels, as lots of them post some interesting stuff. The judging criteria for this season is the exact same as last season, where the judges use the 7-point system from BattleBots Season 4, where a bot can get up to 3 points for damage, 2 points for aggression, and 2 points for control. Now for the schedule for this season. The plan as for right now is that the first episode will be premiered and released at 9 p.m. Central Time on January 5th, and another episode will be premiered and released every Tuesday and Saturday from there. This could change as college does keep me busy. The plan is to post the fight card around 24 hours before the episode is premiered onto my Instagram, so be sure to follow in the green square if you haven't already. As you probably see from the image on this schedule, this will be a very long season, as there will be 28, maybe 29 episodes in this one, not counting this one. The first 9 episodes feature the opening round for this tournament. 10 fights will be presented in each, and in most, but not all, we will see some highlight fights, where we will see clips from those fights. The end of episode 9 will be the reveal of the wild cards for each class. The following 7 episode features the first round of each bracket, 10 fights once again, and we'll see some highlight fights close to the end of that set of episodes. The next 4 feature the second round of each bracket, and we will see all 40 of those fights. Episodes 21 and 22, same style as the last bunch of episodes, where we'll see 10 fights, and yeah, none of them will be highlight fights. Episode 23 will feature the final 4 of the DSL class, then the Elite 8 matchups for both of the other 2 classes, and finally, we will crown the first War Machines champion of the season, whom is in the DSL class. Episode 24 features the remainder of the tournament and the crowning of the other 2 champions. Episode 25 includes bonus fights that will include competitors from each mod who didn't make it past the opening round or the first round of the bracket. There will be 12 matchups in there and 4 matchups from each mod. Because a lot of the highlight fights feature competitors who might be fan favorites or competitors that people just want to see along with other fights just being entertaining, the next 3 episodes feature 15 each of those fights. However, the plan is that there will be battle music but no commentary for each of those. Don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing to you. Your choice. Finally, episode 29, which may or may not happen, as that's undetermined. If it does happen, you'll see a USA vs. the World type event like what we saw in BattleBots Season 3, but Robot Wars mod versus BattleBots and BuggleBots mod, which will feature several one-on-one matchups between competitors from each mod. Once again, I'm not sure if I will be able to make that happen, but if I do, it should be a heck of a fun episode. The last things I have to talk about are a few things to keep in mind for this season. The first thing is, which I expect this could be very confusing, there are some competitors that will be appearing in multiple classes. Some examples like listed on the slide is we'll see Son of Waiachi in the DSL mod in the BattleBots and BuggleBots class. We'll see Hypnodisc, Behemoth, Tornado, Bulldog Breed, and quite a few other Robot Wars competitors in both the DSL and the Robot Wars classes. I am just letting you know that this is allowed, and I'm gonna try my best to make this as less confusing as possible. The other thing to keep in mind, and this is probably the most important one of the 2, many competitors perform quite a bit differently than what we have seen like in the real thing that they've participated in, whether they were a BattleBots competitor, Robot Wars, you name it. Lots of them perform a lot differently there. Some perform a lot better, some perform a lot worse. If you either saw the first season of War Machines or other competitions that feature mods like these that we'll be seeing this season, you probably noticed this. You will probably notice this a lot this season as well, so I am letting you know about this now. That is all I plan to talk about in this episode, so if anything was confusing, because I know I'm bad at explaining things, feel free to throw a question in the comments. I hope you are looking forward to this season as much as I am, and I will hopefully see you then.